Hello, everybody, and welcome back. It is me, your old pal Orpheus, with another edition of the Madness and Mayhem podcast. Yeah, I've got some requests. I put out a poll a while ago that said, hey, would you like to hear a little bit more of the podcast variety sort of content from me? And quite a few of you said that you wouldn't mind. And so this is an opportunity. The podcast is so you can strap on some headphones and just kind of kick back and relax. There's nothing you have to worry about in the background there. Although, just to give you something to look at and to kind of try to lighten the mood a little bit occasionally, I'm playing some Diablo 3 here, just kind of farming out some things, and there's that crazy portal thing that you're going to see occasionally, so hopefully we'll see if one of those procs. So anyway, we'll keep going with that. So today, like I said, I wanted to talk to you about something that's, well, it's something that I know every single person deals with, and maybe not to the extremes that I do, but I know a lot of people still do have some sort of issue with this, and it is this. I've held off long enough. Dreams. Yes, everyone dreams, pretty much, although we'll get into that in a second. That's not always a constant so much as you might think, but everybody has dreams. Do you have dreams that are recurring dreams? Do you have ones that you get over and over again, ones that plague you every single night? Are they nightmares? Okay, we're going to go into all of that with me here and maybe some things that are going to click with you, and we'll see how that goes. In the meantime, I hope that you are doing well wherever you are today, whether it is day or night, or you're just kicking back on your 747 trip to Paris and you've got your headphones on and you're listening to the smooth sounds of your old pal Orpheus. Yeah, if you didn't realize, or if you hadn't heard in other episodes, I used to be a radio personality and a news broadcaster and anchor for quite a while, and so yes, you'll hear some smooth sounds out of me. I've had some people say, you know, you really have a nice voice for podcasting. Yeah, I've heard that before. Anyway, so dreams, right? I have for as far back as I can remember, I've always had bad dreams. But seriously, I used to be a person who had what's known as night terrors when I was a kid, which is kind of like, it's a cross between sleepwalking and a nightmare. You walk around your house or wherever you are, if you're camping or something, who knows. You walk around and literally you're experiencing the dream while you're walking around. And so my version was there was some recurring dreams that I would have, and I would quite literally be walking around the house screaming, like just and my, the medical experts tell you that you're not supposed to just like grab the person and shake them awake, and be like, wake up, you're not supposed to do that to somebody who's having a night terror. Not the best idea. It can kind of damage their psyche a little bit. Well, apparently my parents never got that memo, because they kept a little portable air horn, like a boat horn, the kind that you hear at like hockey games and stuff, that meep kind of thing. Yeah, the air compressed air horn. They would keep a little one in a drawer in my parents' bedroom. I would start having a night terror. They would come up and blow that thing at me, and I would just wake up and just, right? That was when I was like between 4 and like 11 years old. I had the night terrors pretty bad. It was something that, I don't know, I would wake up in different parts of the house sometimes, because there were times that I would just have the night terror and I'd be walking around experiencing the dream, and it wasn't, I wasn't screaming. And so I would sometimes just wake up down in the basement, like sitting on the floor. I'd like, whoa, what just happened, man? But, so dreams were always something that kind of like started off in my life pretty harsh, and we'll talk about why in just a couple of minutes here. There's a kind of weird part coming up. Before I go any deeper, I do want to give a sort of disclaimer that I mention in a lot of my videos where I go into psychological or mental sort of issues. I am not a therapist. I am not licensed to give any sort of mental advice or psychiatric advice or psychology advice. I'm not a counselor or a social worker or hold a PSYD or anything like that. I have degrees in other things. I do not have any degrees in mental health. So take anything that I say with a grain of salt. However, remember that I am someone that lives with many of these disorders that I talk about, including autism, brain damage, PTSD, generalized anxiety. I could go on for a very long time, but I won't. And so, as someone that lives with those things, I think I can give people a little bit of perspective. Maybe if they're not familiar personally with those issues, maybe, someone that, doesn't have those things going on in their life, I can give you a little bit of insight. If you are someone that has those issues, maybe we can share a moment where you kind of realize that you're not alone when it comes to some of these things and challenges that we face in life. So, on to the rest of the podcast. Recurring dreams. Now, are you someone that has recurring dreams? Are you someone that always has those things that come up whenever you go to bed, like I asked before? I want you to think about it for a minute, because some of us may not realize that we have dreams that go over and over again. They may be in certain different contexts. Now, I'll give you an example. For me personally, I always have one that I like to call the endless hotel dream. Okay. I have traveled quite a bit in my life, and I've seen a lot of weird places, and I've stayed in a lot of weird hotels and motels and bed and breakfasts and hostels and things like that in my life. And so I have this kind of, I think this amalgamation, like this combination of all the different hotels and places that I've stayed. They kind of almost just kind of form this endless place. And it's hard to describe this dream. Sometimes it's a hotel, sometimes it's a campus, like a college campus or something, with dorms that just go on forever and ever. In a college campus I can never figure out. Sometimes it's just a bunch of cabins, like if you've ever been to like a summer resort or something, and they've got a bunch of cabins that you can rent. Sometimes it's like that, and I just skip from cabin to cabin. And it's weird, because one of the hotels that is in the dream pretty frequently is one that I know I see it so vividly in my head right now. If I close my eyes, I can see that place. I can see walking through it. But the problem is, I see walking through it in the dream. It's a very specific place. It's a hotel that has on the inside of the hotel, there's a little dome. It's a glass dome that has inside of it a bar, like a tiki bar, and there's a bridge and a hot tub and a swimming pool. And it's in there, and it's got all these different colored lights. It looks like it was designed in the 1960s, right? And then like overlooking that is like a dining area, and it's like a lounge dining area that has a little gift store and stuff. I'm describing this in such detail because it's been one that I have dreamt about over and over again, and one that I specifically remember staying at when I was traveling across the country. Boy, years ago, almost 20 years ago. And the problem is I can't figure out where that place is, because I don't know how to do a Google search on something so like general and at the same time so specific. Like maybe I can use ChatGPT or something to do that. Who knows, right? The problem here, though, lies in something that is very fundamental with your brain, and it's this. Your brain tricks you into believing that dreams could be real. Right? So sometimes you have, like, you wake up from a dream and you're like, oh my gosh, that thing that I just dreamt about didn't actually happen. But when you're in the dream, a lot of the times your brain cannot tell the difference between that dream state and reality. And sometimes that bleeds over into your real life. So occasionally with something like this in the hotel, that may be 3 or 4 hotels put together, just that one memory of that hotel. Now, it gets weirder with this dream, because a lot of the times I'm trying to find either one specific person's room, or I'm trying to find my own room, or, here's the funny one, or it's a family member that is staying there as well, and I have found their room and I'm starting to steal everything in their room. Now, I don't know where the hell that comes from, but like I start rifling through their stuff and like taking jewelry and everything from them. I don't know. Hey guys, if you're listening from my family, first of all, hey, how you doing? Screw you. Second of all, just know that I dream about stealing stuff from you all the time. Now that's the recurring kind of hotel campus cabin dream. It kind of gives you that uneasy feeling. It always leaves me with this empty kind of lost feeling, and I think it comes from when I was just a wee little lad. I used to, like I said, travel a lot. Now, we went to Toronto this one time when I was just I think I was single digit age, like 5 or 6. and there was an exhibit of the Tutankhamun artifacts that was up in Toronto. And I briefly discussed this in another video. I don't remember what the name of it was, but I was left alone. I got lost with my parents. Now the place where this exhibition was in a convention center hotel, right? And so one part of the hotel had a bunch of the artifacts from Tutankhamun. It was an entire museum sort of show. And then the rest of it was this big, huge convention center hotel. And I remember getting lost. I got separated from my parents, and I spent, boy, it was like from noon until about 6 o'clock that night, going up and down the elevators, going through all the different hallways. Like, I'd see people with their doors open, like in the hallway, and I'd kind of look in to see if that was my parents or not. I traveled throughout that entire hotel for just hours and hours, and it was pretty damn traumatizing. And I think that's where that came from. It kind of stuck with me. I'm a person that has PTSD from about a dozen different sources, and I think that's one of the ones that gave me not only that recurring dream, but it also kind of gave me this abandonment kind of issue as I went along in life. So that's that one. Another one that I've had is, I think I call it the asteroid dream. I did a video a while back here, a few weeks ago, about how space terrifies me. Space absolutely fascinates, and at the same time fills me with this feeling of existential dread. Like, there's just such emptiness and blackness out there. And I was always a kid that was fascinated with space when I was growing up. We had a planetarium that was pretty close. Our school actually used to take us to the planetarium on a regular basis. And so that stuff, looking up in that dome and being like, oh, wow, look at all those constellations that he's talking about, and all the Greek and Roman myths where those things come from. And, oh, that's a comet called, G4689 or something, and it's streaking across the sky, and it was always so cool to be able to get immersed in that sort of stuff, but I would have this recurring dream where I'm floating out in space, okay? And the concept in space that kind of gets you is this thing of gravity, right? The larger something is out there, or here, the larger something is anywhere in the universe, the more mass it has and the more gravity that it has. Well, maybe not larger and mass, there's separate concepts, but the more mass something has, the more gravity it exerts on the environment. In other words, the planet Pluto right now is pulling on you, and at the same time, you are pulling on the planet Pluto. However, the amount that you're pulling on Pluto is so infinitesimally small, but not compared to how much you are actually pulling on the nearest star, Alpha Centauri, right? It is still pulling on you, you're pulling on it. That's how gravity works. But since that star is so large, it has its own gravitational field that holds all of those planets around it. And the same thing with our sun, right? And so gravity is this constant that the larger an object is, the more it pulls on you, right? And so this dream is I'm floating in space, and I look down around me, and there are these giant asteroids. Now, if you've ever played Kerbal, kind of like an asteroid that you approach like out of nowhere, and it's this vast thing that's just slowly tumbling out in space, right? And you see it, and I'd look down at this asteroid, and I'd start to feel myself getting pulled by it, and I'd feel, and it's so far away, but at the same time, I feel that gravity starting to tug on me. And then I look over, and there's another asteroid that's even larger, and I feel that one pulling on me, and I feel myself getting tugged between the two, and then I wake up. Now, that is one that I used to have a lot. It was one of the ones that would incite those night terrors where I'd walk around the house just absolutely screaming my head off, because it was just, I don't know, it's a combination of just like the emptiness and blackness of space combined with that feeling. And it's kind of like a feeling of vertigo, like when you look down from a height and you kind of get that dizzy kind of whoa thing going on. That's kind of how it felt in the dream. Like that tugging sensation was more like a falling tugging sensation. And so it left you, if you've ever had a flying dream, right, where you're flying around, it's kind of that same feeling, but somehow you're getting it while you're sleeping anyway. So that is the asteroid dream. The third one that's a little bit tougher is, boy, how do I even categorize this dream? This is something that I call the dream, I guess, if nothing else. It's the dream. And this is one that I've had since I was, as long as I can remember, I've had this one. And it is this. It's late at night. And I am walking down a flight of steps into a basement. And on one side off to my left is a roaring fireplace. It is brick lined, and it's got a big stone mantle over the top of it. And there's a fire just raging, and the shadows in the room are flickering everywhere. So it's orange and black flickering everywhere. And I look over to my right, and there's a table. And on this table it's either a person or an animal. I think it's either a dog or a person. And they are in a state of dissection. The limbs are chopped off. There's body parts laying on the table, and there is blood. There is so much blood. There's blood everywhere. There's blood on the table, on the floor, on the walls. And I can smell the coppery kind of odor just filling the air, filling my nostrils. I see the horror, and I see tools on the table. I see a scissors. I see a knife. I see a butcher's cleaver sitting there. And as soon as I turn towards the center of the room, there's a shadowy figure, and then I wake up. The problem is with this dream is it's something that it actually happened. I don't know the context of it. I don't know whether it was someone in my family or a murder that I witnessed or something horrible taking place where there was like one of our dogs got killed by somebody and I walked in on it. I don't know if it was my father or an uncle or a grandfather or my brother. I don't know who it was. I don't even know if it was me. It might have been me. I don't know. But what I do remember is that it is very real. Every single sensation in that is not to the level of being a dream. It is to the level of I witnessed something that was absolutely awful. I witnessed something that was just a horror scene, something that I would never wish upon anyone else to walk in on, to find in their home or wherever that was. The sad part is we used to have in the house that I grew up in matches that exactly, that dream. There's a table to the right, there's a roaring fireplace or a fireplace to the left that's made of brick and has a stone mantle. And we used to have roaring fireplaces in it all the time. And it's hard for me to figure out exactly when that happened in my life and when I witnessed that. And you say Orpheus, no, that was just a dream. You didn't actually experience that. No. Because when I've talked to my parents over the years about it, they've always poo-pooed it away. Like, no, that was just a dream. Don't worry about that. That was, but you think like it's a parent being like, comforting, and no, that wasn't real. It was just a dream. Except they were always too creepy about it. They would kind of like explain it like, no, it was a dream. Anyway, did you hear about the new thing going on with the red rings? Blah, 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 and just try to completely distract me. Now that dream right there is one that my parents started using the air horn for. When I would be screaming and I would wake up to that one, the screaming was so bad and went on for so long, that's when my parents decided to get that little horn. And that was when I would say, oh my God, I had the dream again with the blood. And that's when they would say, no, that was just a dream. Anyway, why don't you go back to bed, right? That kind of thing. I told this to therapists over the years, and the level of detail, and I didn't go into the full detail with you guys. I didn't want to make it too visceral. I didn't want to make it too scary, but trust me, it is a lot worse than what I described. And there are a lot of parts of it that I did not go into, but those parts that I have gone into with therapists over the years, they've always been like, you went through something that was truly awful. And so when I mentioned at the beginning that everybody dreams, but not everybody actually dreams. You know what I'm saying? I am on a medication that my latest therapist of the last several years put me on after I described this dream to her. And after I told her this was one that plagued me basically every third or fourth night, like it would, and I would wake up screaming, he's clutching the bed saying no, no, no. And so I asked my therapist, is there anything that we can do? And she put me on a medication. I'm not going to say what it is because, I don't need to. But it is these two little pills that I take at bedtime. And it makes it so if I dream, I do not remember it. I don't wake up with, feeling like something was weird. I don't feel like, I have to wake up and break myself out of a dream. If you've ever had something called sleep paralysis, it's where you're kind of half awake and half asleep. Some people describe it as like when they see someone at the foot of their bed in a dream and they can't move because they've got this paralysis going on. Your body actually excretes hormones that keep you from moving around in your sleep. If you have an especially bad dream or something that goes on that's especially jolting or jostling, you can kind of break that out. If we've all had that thing where you kick or you kind of punch out in the middle of the night. Well, if you didn't have this paralysis hormone that was in your body, or a chemical, whichever it is, if you didn't have this process in your body, you'd be punching and kicking everybody and everything all night long, because you're walking in the dream. And since your brain has, trouble differentiating between the dream and reality, you'd be walking around in your sleep. And that's where sleepwalking partially comes from. That paralysis and stillness sort of process gets, damaged or is off sync or whatever. And you have something called somnambulance, which is a fancy word for saying sleepwalking. And so that's a thing that can happen, but the sleep paralysis, that's rough. But the medication that I have completely makes it so I don't have that jumping up. I don't have the night terrors. I don't walk around in my sleep anymore. And man, I was one of those people with the scuffed up shins. I got bruises on my shins from kicking stuff in the middle of the night. I woke up with broken toes before. God, that was bad. Anyway, so let's talk about what do these dreams mean? And I don't mean mine specifically. I want you to think real quick. Close your eyes for just a second, unless you're like flying a plane or driving a car or something. Don't do that. Or, watching, looking at your friend or something and you just suddenly close your eyes. Don't do that. Close your eyes for a second and I want you to think of the last dream that you had, right? Okay. I want you to think about that for just a second. Like, what is that dream? Was it that you were standing in front of your classroom and you were naked? Oh, no, they're all laughing at you. And people will tell you that that's you have some sort of anxiety issues about being in front of your peers, or that you're not going to be accepted by people. Well, okay. I think that dreams are very much a subjective sort of thing. You can get dream journals. You can talk to people that are all woo-woo about things where they're, dreams are like the gateway into your soul, man. And I go, just calm down. It's basically when you go to sleep, your body and your brain kind of have this thing that swaps, right? Your brain takes most of the energy overnight. And what it does is it replenishes what you have going on. It like refreshes you, but what it does is it processes the information that you took in during the day, right? So if you cram for a test, right, do not just go take the test after you crammed. Take a nap. Take like an hour nap or something before you go take that exam, and your brain will cement that information into your brain, into your memory, and you'll do a lot better on the test. Trust me on this one. If you're someone that likes to do last minute crunching and then you stay up all night and then you go take the test at 6 a.m., don't do that. Get a little bit of sleep beforehand. Your old pal Orpheus is recommending that. But the thing is, your body your brain kind of vomits up everything that you had going on during the day, the week, and the last year. Whatever your thought processes are before you go to bed or during the day, that's what your brain is going to kind of play with overnight. Okay. Now, does that mean that everybody in the dream is you, and you'll never see people's faces in the dreams because it's impossible to, or you can't read books in dreams because it just is gobbledygook? Look, everything in a dream that happens for you is your experience alone. okay? Like I said, you can tell somebody your dreams. You can read a dream book about interpretation. Oh, feathers mean change, and flying means that you're, feeling elated about something. And oh, if you see a banana, that stands for pride, or what? I mean, come on, man. What are you expecting to get out of something where your brain is just on autopilot, just kind of tossing around your thoughts and your memories and your experiences, right? Why is that something that you try to inspire some sort of meaning to or ascribe some sort of meaning to? I don't understand why people do that so heavily. I've seen people change their entire lives based on single dreams that they've had. Like, okay, you know why the Holy Roman Empire turned into the Holy Roman Empire, which was neither holy nor Roman? Discuss. Anyway, the Holy Roman Empire became such because, who is it? Charlemagne had this dream, right? Where he saw God up in the sky with a symbol on a shield, and suddenly, boom! The Roman Empire was the Holy Roman Empire, and they followed Christianity. A dream, folks, that completely impacted the course of history. Okay, now I think back in the days when science and mental processes weren't understood as well, you had that kind of thing like, oh my gosh, I had a dream. Oh, that means that blank is going to happen in my life. Like, shamans and soothsayers and stuff, they get into a dream state and they get this information from beyond. Look, if you're someone that's into the woo-woo stuff, I'm totally fine with that, okay? You get whatever you want. Whatever meaning you get out of life is correct, okay? Whatever floats your boat, sinks your Titanic, gets you there, makes you feel good, right? Let your freak flag fly. Do whatever you're going to do in order to do, what you need to do in life. Just don't hurt other people. But like dreams, you interpret it how you want. You take it in your life how you want, and you go with it how you want. That's the great thing about life. Anyway, leave in the comments below any kind of weird dreams that you've had over the years. Anything that you might, like, I don't know, do you always wake up feeling like you were a superhero because you were flying around all night long? If you are someone that can fly, congratulations on a regular basis. That is something that can be pretty cool. And also something to look into is lucid dreaming. Oh man, lucid dreaming. Is that real? I don't know. Where you kind of you make it so you can control the course of your dreams, and like you suddenly realize that you are in a dream. One method that I heard that works is occasionally just stop yourself every day and go, is this a dream or is this real? Okay. And if you do that enough, you might be able to set it as a habit that you can do during a dream. So you're dreaming and you go, is this a dream or is this real? And you go, this is a dream. And you can start doing some silly stuff, right? I don't know. I've never had luck with that, and especially because I take a medication that makes it so I can't remember dreaming. So, hey, at least if you're someone that has night terrors as well, go talk to a medical professional. There is a medication or two out there that can make it so you don't have to experience that horror and that kind of darkness. You can go on about your life without having to worry about that. Now, can you go insane from not dreaming? Some people say that is possible because that processing time that you need overnight it's pretty important, and we don't know if that's connected to dreams necessarily, but it does seem like it is something to keep in mind. Okay, well, that is today's episode of the Madness and Mayhem podcast with me, your old pal Orpheus. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you come by for the next episodes, and I hope you go and check out my channel there. Be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications so that the next time I put out something awesome, hey, you'll know about it right away. And hey, if you do all that stuff too, YouTube will know that my content is something that will be exciting and fun and just something that other people want to see and hear and experience. So with all that in mind, thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you in the next one here on Orpheus Plays. Bye!